Alright, good morning everybody. I thought I'd just do a quick video going over some of the custom mods I downloaded for Daggerfall Unity. Just kind of going over the ones I handpicked and selected in order to create a retro-like experience, but at the same time have some more modern mods added, so you kind of have this mix and match of retro and more modern stuff. So for the computer I'm using, it's actually got a really old NVIDIA graphics card in it, so it's probably like 15 years old. So I can't overdo the graphics, but I'm not going to do that anyway with this build because I'm kind of doing the retro thing. So I have some effects enabled. Everything's pretty much maxed out, but at the same time I'm using an old graphics card. So anyways, we can get started with going over the mods. First mod I have is animated water. It's supposed to provide animations for the water sprites, like on the ocean and stuff like that. But I tested it and I can't seem to get it to work, or it's not working, so maybe there's something doing wrong with it. Fix dungeon exteriors. Basically changes the dungeons to what its name is. So the dungeon's name is Castle of whatever is gonna be a castle whenever you get to it. So it makes it whatever its description is, instead of it just being that little cave-like structure every time. Atlas of the Iliac Bay renames, so it puts more lore-based names. And it covers Rothgaria, Arsenium, and all these different provinces, which I haven't even gone through yet to check. The archaeologist adds an archaeologist skill that actually overhauls language, so you can actually roleplay a language person and do this guild, and you can actually utilize those language skills for more than just pacifying enemies. It also has some kind of locator device that they give you, but I haven't really gone through to kind of quest with them yet. Magicka regen, it regens magicka. You can set up how much you want it to do. So I have tick frequency 2. It does a very slow uptick in magicka, so sort of like the later Elder Scrolls games where you get your magicka kind of goes up as you just sit there. So that way makes it a little bit more modernized, where you don't have to rest every time you need to recover magic. And Daggerfall expanded textures, it's basically just the flat textures for map, like flags and nation state flags in the game and stuff like that is overhauled, so it's just a graphics thing. RMB resource pack is something for, like, I think it's for like meshes in the game or something like that, so like static meshes and objects. Finding my religion is overhauls the religion quest, and it's detailed temples, where you have temples that are more involved. They look better. They've been redone, and the questing has been redone as well. Fixed desert architecture, pretty simple. It just makes the Sentinel Alakir desert areas look more, it doesn't have the sloped roofs, it has the flat roofs and stuff like that. Windmills of Daggerfall just adds windmills. I have Beautiful Cities of Daggerfall disabled because it seemed to take a pretty good graphics hit whenever I had it enabled. That and the hand-painted models, but I currently have hand-painted models enabled. The frame rate's pretty steady with hand-painted models enabled, and this one disabled, so that's where I've got it right now. Convenient quest log just makes the quest log more usable, like a modern Elder Scrolls game, where you can click on the location that you're asked to go to, and it'll just pop up the map and send you there, so you don't have to go searching for it every time. Basic roads just adds roads between cities and towns, so you can actually follow a road in real time to get from town to town. Use that sometimes when I'm role-playing, traveling from, Privateer's Hold to another location close by, like Chesterwark, I think. You can kind of roleplay traveling there, and it'll you can actually use the road if you want, or you can set up the fast travel with camping. And the way it works with the fast travel overhaul is when you camp, instead of going to hotels, it won't fast travel you. You'll go, and you'll go fast, like 10 times the speed, but it'll do it in real time instead of fast traveling. Bloodfall just adds blood, so you attack enemies and blood comes spurting out and falls on the ground. Roleplay realism, if we go into it, you have all these settings that will enable more role-playing settings, enhanced riding, realistic movement. I got rid of encumbrance effects because if you have piles of treasure on you and you're almost overweight, it'll like mess up your endurance, I think. So I just got rid of that one. But everything else I got set up. Convenient clock, I usually set this. This just puts a clock on the HUD. I put time weekday text instead of that clock icon. It's kind of big. So this just tells you what time it is in the day, in the week, and a month, I think. Travel options, that's the fast travel mod I was just talking about. So player controlled cautious travel is whenever you do travel cautious and you camp out overnight, it'll actually do this fast travel where it'll speed you up. You could go 10, 15, 20 times the speed. And frame rate takes a hit because it's got to load all those chunks of the overworld in while you're traveling. So you got to be mindful of that. But it has a whole bunch of settings that you can kind of, go through and customize it. And I do recommend you go into the settings of all these mods and check them out, because you never know what you might, find in there that you might want to use to kind of enhance your playthrough. Dynamic ambience, I believe, is a mod that adds ambient effects in dungeons, like water dripping. It adds like bugs at night, crows, bird noises, stuff like that. Roleplay realism items, rebalances loot, has bandaging as a combat skill if you're playing like a warrior. Condition-based prices, so whatever your loot item repair status is, it makes it match to that price. You can also have item conditions be used at stores, so you'll have like a used dwarven dagger at a store you buy, and then you have to go get it repaired, stuff like that. Enemy equipment, so the skeletons, they no longer have, they're kind of more like modern Elder Scrolls, where they just have coins and maybe a weapon or something like that. They give you starting equipment, you get starting spells, like you actually get a heal spell starting out, which is one of the best reasons to use this mod if you're doing Privateer's Hold or any other dungeon starting out with a new character that's using magic. Dynamic music, it just adds music. I took the combat music off because I don't really like combat music. I just like it to go through regular music without the combat, just like original Daggerfall. And track resume, it goes through different tracks, so you're going through town, it's not the same track over and over again. It'll kind of redo a new track. Harvestable crops, you can find forms and harvest herbalism ingredients. And I guess meat reputation, I haven't really done this much. So you have to have permission to harvest farm-owned crops, so you can go to a farm, and if you have permission, you can do it if you have the rep. This is dynamic Daggerfall expanded textures harvestable crops, so it kind of ups the graphics a bit. This is Elves and Beast Folk, and it is not currently working in my setup, because everywhere I've gone, the NPCs are all Daggerfall citizens. None of them have been updated or changed, so I kind of need to go through this and figure out what's going on. So it says it put elves and beast race flat NPCs. I have not seen that. Something I'm doing wrong. This is the Daggerfall enhancement project. It's just resources, families of Daggerfall. Not quite sure what that does, but it's something. If you go into the Nexus and check it out, you can see it's called the DIEP, or Daggerfall something enhancement project. New paintings, just adds new paintings to castles and in the inns and stuff like that. This adds residences, so it kind of overhauls houses and stuff like that. Puts a little bit more detail. So this is supposed to be the replacer for elves and beast folk that changes NPCs, but I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I haven't gotten far enough in the game, I don't know. I went to Sentinel in the last video I uploaded, and it currently just shows regular Daggerfall citizens there, so something's up. Handheld torches, one of my favorite mods. You can actually throw torches with throw torch, and if you turn up the throw strength a bit, like to 2, you could, you know, you have a shield and a sword, and you could toss a torch out, you know, to a enemy that's out there, and then you can run up on them and attack them, and it's like really cool. And it has the light effect, so I don't currently have the darkness really dark, but I have it dark enough to where you can, there's a big difference between the lights being off in a dungeon and you're in a dark corridor. You kind of want to use a torch. You can also use lanterns, and those can actually, you don't drop those every time you pull out a sword and shield. And you can edit this too, handheld torches, to where it doesn't drop it. See here it says drop. You can have it, I think it's unequipped. So it just unequips it, and it stays in your inventory. So every time you pull out you have a torch out, and you go for combat, so you pull out weapons, it'll stow the torch on you instead of dropping it on the ground. It's all on how you want to play with that, with the handheld torches. HUD torch indicator, sorry, it just puts a torch icon on the lower right portion of the screen to show that you have a torch out. This just adds birds to Daggerfall. Combat log, I want to say this is the one that you could put, I don't know if you could do the settings, but it adds combat text whenever you're in combat. So you'll get like flavor text for it. Vanilla combat event handler. So other mods can use the combat flavor text. Improved interior lighting, just improves interior lighting. Is self-explanatory. Diverse weapons is pretty good. It reskins all the weapons and makes them look unique. So an ebony dagger looks different than a dwarven dagger, looks different than a steel dagger, etc. They all have different looks to them. Combat and armor overhaul redoes the like damage taking. Instead of reducing changes, it basically changes the math behind the scenes to make it more, I don't know, I prefer using it other than not using it, but you kind of would want to try it with it on and try it with it off and see which one you prefer for like the math behind the scenes with combat and which one you prefer to use. Hand painted models, this adds 3D modeling like benches, tables, chairs. You could have treasure piles, so instead of the flats you have 3D treasure piles. I have both enabled right now. It does do a little bit of a frame rate hit on the old graphics card I have, but kind of okay with it right now. Retro frame is the mod that puts that retro HUD up, so this is the one you want to use for that. And dynamic skies gets rid of this the generic flat background skybox. Gets rid of that and puts the actual 3D skybox in. Hotkey bar just creates a hotkey bar at the bottom of the screen. You could bind spells, weapons, torches, everything to the hotkey bar. Goes from 1 to 9, so you could use 1 to 9 keys to bind, just like in the later Elder Scrolls games. Weapon widget is a great mod because it animates the weapon with much more fluid animation. So when you're walking, the weapon bobs up and down. When you swing the weapon, it has way more animation frames, looks much more modern. Shield widget, same thing. You pull out a shield, the shield's going to show up on the screen, bobs up and down when you're moving, stuff like that. It looks really cool if you have those two enabled. World of Daggerfall redoes the entire world to where it's more varied, especially the wilderness. Lively cities adds like a city center. So if you go to the location in a main city where they have like all the shopkeepers in a circle, it's kind of like a main square. If you go to that, it'll actually have like it looks like a festival going on or something, or like a market stalls are out and stuff like that. Location loader, add new locations and prefabs to the world. Quest actions extension is a mod that adds quest actions and conditions. Is something that kind of comes with, I think you got to use it for other mods. It's like a dependency. For simple 3D trees, it adds pixelated 3D trees, so you get the retro look, and you get 3D for your vegetation. So it works well. I've tried desert, it looks good. For Daggerfall proper, it looks good. So yeah, it's definitely a good mod. Not a much of a frame rate hit because they're low poly pixelated. Sprite sound framework that makes sprite sound. So what that means is if you go to like a blacksmith, you can hear them banging on the anvil. You go up to him and you can hear the clang, clang, clang as he's doing it. NPC health indicators. Also for sprite sound framework, it adds a bunch of different sounds like that for different NPCs. NPC health indicators just puts that health bar on top so you know what you're dealing with. Parallax dungeon doors redoes dungeon doors to where they have a parallax 3D looking effect to them, look more modern, and looks pretty cool in my opinion. Real grass just adds 3D grass to the overworld. World of Daggerfall biomes and terrains. Those are for the World of Daggerfall project that we looked at up here. It adds biomes and it adds terrain that will it'll kind of mix it up so you don't just have the same trees over and over and over. You'll have a field here. You'll have, mountains here, stuff like that. It makes it look like, it makes the randomization look a little bit better. Regional NPCs, this is another one I'm not sure is working, but it puts it's supposed to put regional NPCs in. Wilhelm retro frame, this one's not working either. It just adds a different type of HUD, the retro HUD, and currently it's not showing up, so maybe I have to like move this up or something. Scrollable interaction modes. This one is, let's see. Oh, this one lets you use the mouse wheel to go from like if you want to look at something, if you want to go to steal mode or grab mode, you can use the mouse wheel instead of using the F1 to F4 keys. True billboard pitch kind of fixes the billboard on whenever you kill like a bandit or something like that and you have the flat model on the ground, that 2D flat that's billboarded in 3D, it kind of fixes that a bit so it looks a bit better. And viewable skill progress, which just shows if you go into your character and you look at the different skills, major, minor, miscellaneous, it'll show you how much or how many more times you have to use them before they'll upgrade, and it'll show you progress to the next level so you kind of know where you're at whenever you're leveling. And those are all the mods I'm currently using, and so far I've only had a couple of crashes. I had one earlier. I was doing something else in the background while I was loading, so that could have had something to do with it, but I haven't had many crashes with this mod set, so pretty satisfied with it. Not using Dream mod, just want everything to be baseline Daggerfall texture wise, except for the hand painted models and a couple other random textures, and for the weapon widget and stuff like that to make it look more realistic. And yeah, so that's the mod set I'm using. I'm gonna upload a couple more videos kind of doing mix and match mods and seeing which ones work well and which ones I want to have, so I can create like the most custom experience that I want to create. And I'll be back probably tomorrow or day after with another video. And that'll do it for this one.